Aloha and welcome to Challenge Accepted, a podcast where we challenge each other back and forth to a new movie or show. I'm Thomas, and as always, I'm joined with Frank.
Hey everybody, yes, we have Thomas back. I'm so excited. And today we're talking about The Last of Us, season 2, episode 5. What'd you think about this episode?
Feel Her Love. Pretty solid for the most part. There were some moments though where I was like, it was a little cheesy for me.
Yeah,
But
I
it
can see that.
ends in a very violent and crazy way. What about you? What did you think about this episode?
I thought it was a real cookie cutter, point A to point B. We're at the point in the, I'm like, I can't help but compare to the video game all the time. And I'm like an
Hmm.
annoying friend, um, where I'm like, okay, this is the part where we're just kind of like getting to the next part of the story. So
Right.
this happens a lot in video games. I'm sure everybody's playing up, like a lot of people are playing Oblivion Remaster right now, or whatever. And there's so many times it's like, all right, now you got to go click 5 of those. Like, okay,
Right,
we're
right,
at
right.
that, we're in one of those phases right now.
Yeah, it's like busy tasks. You're like, okay, we gotta
Yes,
fill out this story. You're like, okay, I
right.
guess I would just go to 5 different parts of the map and pick these things up. Sure.
Right. It's like I get that we have to get to Abby, but it's like we just killed just the first one, you know. Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, they're definitely taking their time with it, that's for sure.
Mhm.
No complaints, really.
Yeah.
But we start off kind of showing some back end on the Wolves. I really like how they started this episode, though. We
Hmm.
were kind of looking it up beforehand, and who plays Hanaren? I think
Yeah.
Alana Ubach. Maybe I'm saying her name wrong, but she's been in a bunch of stuff. I know her as a comedic actress, but she's kind of like
Hmm.
in charge of the Wolves in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was like a cool way to set the tone for this episode.
Right. And then we're introduced to the concept of the cordyceps spores and the way that they could be airborne. And it's just another level of how this quote unquote zombie show or story is different than others, is because everything evolves pretty rapidly because of fungus. And so yeah, we have smarter cordyceps, we have airborne cordyceps. And of course, that's a huge advantage for Ellie, who is immune to their disease, to their infection.
Right. But talking about the game and the show, it seemed like last season they had gone away from that because that's a big
Mhm.
thing in the game, right? Is that
Yeah,
it is airborne and that you can, be turned because of just breathing it in. And then last season was like, no, it's just bites. It's just,
yeah,
the hive mind and they get you. And then all of a sudden, now with this episode, it's like, oh wait, spores are back on the table, baby. And so
right.
it's pretty interesting. It's almost like they what is the word? Uncanonized it and then recanonized it. It was
The
like
Star
very
Wars,
unique. Yeah,
they do that
yeah.
all the time. They're like,
Star
oh
Wars
yeah,
definitely
all
does
those
that.
books are no good. Okay, we like that book. They do that all the
Exactly. Unless
time.
who's the main Star Wars guy? I want to say
George
Feige.
Lucas or Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni. Unless Filoni
Yeah.
says he wants it back now, it's like, all right, it's back in the table. You're like, okay. And so
uh,
yeah, it was cool
yeah,
how I think they brought it back, but also how they kind of introduced it with this
right.
beginning of the episode, and then how it kind of comes into play towards the end of the episode.
And I think the key part with this, and I think it plays the same way in the game, is that it's like pockets of spores where, it's a place where clearly Abby would be weak to it, but Ellie wouldn't. And so you have these certain things where it's a one place of advantage where Ellie is, but of course, if Ellie can walk through it, doesn't mean that Dina can. And so then that's where the complexity comes in. Is like, next time you guys run into a room like this, you'll have to
Mhm.
separate again. And how much do you really want to go through that room? So it adds a little. But I do like the way that it's like these just little pockets that we're going to experience, through
Right.
time.
Yeah. And then I like the whole concept of it too, right? I mean, I think if you go back to the game, Seattle was one of those places where they first started having major outbreaks.
Yeah.
And then because of that, there was, I think this hospital in particular, there were so many more people that had it in the beginning stages that they just kept throwing them down in the basement, which I think is
Hmm.
that initial conversation is kind of alluding to. It's like B2 and below, you don't go in there,
Right.
because there's just a ton of cordyceps. But as we see later on, when you get to like a bloater is an advanced stage, but there's
Yeah.
something even more advanced than that, which the games kind of shows you, right?
I think in the finale of this season, we're gonna have the Rat King. I think he's
Mm,
gonna be kind of because I think he would come later on storyline wise. But what I mean, you need something. I really thought they were gonna save Joel for that. So I
mhm.
assume that that's what we're gonna have. We're gonna have the Rat King. That's gonna be this like new threat that's on the field.
Totally. And the lady that Hannaran talks to even says like nobody was down there, not even the rats. She even says it,
Yeah,
so it's like
I love that. A
clearly
little
hinting
hint.
towards that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was great, and it was a perfect way to kind of set up the episode, to set the stage for how this episode ends, and then also for things coming down the line in the main timeline and story. So I thought that was really
Yeah.
well done.
Yeah, and then so we get a little bit of the wolf side of things. Then we go back to see Ellie and Dina, who are in a new budding relationship. That we do see. We talked about it a lot last. Oh, I guess it was just me talking about. In the last episode, it feels like their relationship is now being a little bit rushed, which is circumstances. Like I think one of the reasons this is probably rushed, and hear me out on this and let me know what you think, is in the apocalypse when there's a whole lot less choices for people out there, you're a little bit more like, hey, we both get along married. I think it's a
Yeah.
little bit like that. Would you justify that as why things feel a little bit rushed in this relationship?
Yeah, I've heard that. Again, didn't play the games, and I know people have been saying like, oh, they're like speeding up some things,
Right,
and
they are.
I know that's like a complaint for a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's not knowing that really from the game standpoint, it just seems like puppy love. Like these
Good point.
kids are kind of stuck together, and there's nobody telling them to stop. There's nobody
Hmm.
saying slow down. They're just going for it, right? And
Yeah.
so for me, that's kind of the way it feels, but. It also like isn't. It's funny because there's some moments that are kind of cheesy, and then there's some moments that like it feels natural. Where we see in the beginning, Dina is trying to triangulate the position of the hospital.
Yeah.
And Ellie's coming in there and she's trying to give her 2 cents. She doesn't know shit. She's the kid who never studies in class. It was like, yeah, I know some things. And Dina's like, you clearly don't. So let's let me do the work, and like you can put your name on the assignment and take credit. And
Exactly.
so, but and then she kind of gives her some crap. And so I think it feels kind of natural from that point, but also I think last week's episode to me felt rushed, where it was all of a sudden it was like, I'm pregnant. And she's like, I'm gonna be a
Yes.
dad. And you're like, what? That's a weird response, but okay.
That's what I'm saying is like I think last week was rushed and now we're in it already. But like the week before that last one, there was nothing. Like it was just kind of cute. And then let's not forget that not to keep bringing it up, but in the game they hook up that night of the New Year's thing. So that's what 3 months before this.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's a little bit different there. But yeah, I think now it's a little more settled in because we had a day. And
Well,
I
we had one day. Yeah,
right.
it's funny when you say that out loud. I know
But
what you mean
it's
though.
yeah. But I do like how we're making sure to give Dina enough agency and value in this relationship because it's so easy to just root for Ellie and see like, oh, Dina, go home. You're just gonna mess this up for Ellie because she's gonna be worried about you now because of the baby and because of you. And
Totally.
no, we see that without Dina, Ellie will slip up, and so it's good that they're making sure to add that into the show.
Yeah, I agreed. I think let me know if this was in the game or not too. But once they finally decide to go out and just leave the theater and everything, there's that moment where Dina tells Ellie, like we can turn back now. It's up to you. Like we don't have to keep doing this. Like I'll leave or I'll stay. You just tell me what you
Yeah,
want to do. And is that something that's in the game? Because I was like,
I
that's a
yeah.
good question for this point.
Yeah, I am sure it is. It feels like something that I've seen before, but it's one of those things that's so forgettable that I'm likely pressing like the B button because I want to go shoot things. So it's hard to
You're
tell.
like
Sometimes
skip.
something small like that, so I was like, come on, get me back into it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
couldn't tell you exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought for this story it was a smart choice
Yeah,
because it's like I was definitely asking. I was like, why would you ask her to go along with you, knowing she's pregnant, knowing that there's nothing but danger ahead for them,
right.
and the mission purely is at this point revenge. They're not getting supplies out of it. They're not going to take over the city. It's just like I want to kill Abby, and so to put your lover who's also pregnant in danger
Right.
just seems so crazy to me. So I thought that was like a nice little add-in to be like, like I do want you here and I kind of need you here. And also like for Dina to be like, all right, if you say yes, I'm like ride or die, which then turns into the conversation of her saying like, did I ever tell you about the first person I killed? And I was like, whoa, okay. Because you
Yeah.
could like I don't really know that much about Dina up until this point. Like for me, it's like I know that she was pretty established in Jackson. I know that she had a relationship with Jesse, and I know that she quickly got into Ellie and she could kind of handle herself. But like to what level can she handle herself? I don't really know, but she sounds like a badass now because she's like I killed someone who was killing my mom and sister. And so we're
Yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah. And that I think of, I wish there was a level you could tell in that monologue she's saying, whereas like, should I have just let him finish the job for me too? And like not have to deal with this world. And like I'm sure that's going through so many people's mind where it's like, what
Mm,
happened if I just on the day this broke out, just let the cordyceps take me and I'd be with my family on the other side if you believe in that, or I would at least not be dealing with this hell today. And
yeah.
there's so many, I'm sure that's just racking their brains.
Hmm.
So to hear that Adina is just, I'm sure she's just another one saying it, especially with like
Good point.
our main lens into this world are two stoic characters that are all about survival. They would never admit those questions out loud. So it's good to hear from somebody else.
Right.
I'd like to give a quick shout out. You sent me a video, and it's a good thought. I didn't think about it being a problem beforehand, but this is from. I had to look it up real quick while you're talking. Wizard in a T-shirt, great team, great name. But he brought up a good point. How in the game Tommy goes out first, and Dina and Ellie are looking for Tommy. That's their primary goal, and then it turns into revenge.
Hmm.
And right now we have everything kind of flipped right now because we know later on in this one, Jesse and Tommy's nearby come to save them.
Right. I think the game's version of it is a stronger motivator for me.
Yeah,
Like I like that storytelling a little bit more because it doesn't just seem like right now it just seems like Ellie is evil. And I guess maybe that is the point of this episode is that she just kind of gives into all the evil and all the violence that we kind of saw hints of it in season 1. You know, even from the day that Joel saves her, he's like beating up that dude and she's kind of like, "Yeah, I love it." She was like a
right.
fan in the front row of the UFC. And it's solely it's there in her, and it definitely takes over by the end of it once she sees Nora. But yeah, it just seems like she's kind of completely giving over to the revenge, which to me again doesn't make her as likable as if she was trying to just go and save Tommy.
True, but I think one of the things I think this show did really good with, and it mentioned it through the therapist. I can't remember her name 100% right now.
Gail.
Gail, thank you. Is I don't. She says it along the lines of like, I don't think Joel found her and then she became like Joel. I think those
Oh
two are
right,
always
yeah.
running parallel, and I think that's what it is. Is like just like Joel, there's this dark side, and you need that in this post-apocalyptic world. That you need them to just unleash sometimes, and it's so hard to restrain that.
Mhm.
And without
Unless you're
a
Gail. Then you just
right,
get to, you just get to drink beer and smoke weed.
then you live in the freaking life. Gail, the best thing that
Yeah.
happened to Gail was apocalypse, but but yeah, if she doesn't have a check or balance in her life, with Joel, he had a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, but she died in the sake of getting them out there. And then like definitely Ellie kept him kind of sane, but who's doing that for Ellie? It's supposed to be Dina, but she keeps pushing back on Dina. She's not taking in Dina as like the person who's going to keep her grounded. It's more like a distraction. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think
Mm,
it's until Dina has a baby that she'll see something a little bit more in this relationship to where she's willing to pull back the reins. And because right now she's just going to keep sinking deeper and deeper. We're seeing
right.
Ellie going into the dark side, accepting it because it's the most effective way to get things done. When she was with
Yeah.
Ellie, when she was with Dina, they got stuck in a warehouse. Jesse saved their ass. When she's alone
Right.
and she's embracing her darkness and she's just watching this girl die, Nora,
Mhm.
that's effective. That's working better than being, smart about it.
True, true. It just makes me think though, like to be more effective, she's also losing herself.
Exactly. And I think that's
You
the
know?
point of it. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what would have happened to Joel if it wasn't for Ellie coming into his life, I think.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good way to look at these characters. And but again, to me, that is like, are we rooting for Ellie to become Darth Vader, or do we hope still that she will stay, Anakin Skywalker? So yeah, I think that's the very interesting thing. But to your point,
That's
yes, Jesse then comes and shows up and
love that.
does end up saving. What's up?
I love that because now I'm thinking like there's a force ghost actually that helps out. We're getting that in
Yeah.
the next episode.
Right, right. Yeah, Star Wars relates to everything, man. We can
It
always
sure the
relate
hell
everything
does, man.
back. But yeah, we get Jesse back, which I
Yeah.
love the way they use him in this. Again, I believe this is also similar in the game. I don't know if they meet at the same spot, but we get to see more of those smart clickers too.
Yeah.
They're like strategizing and stuff.
Visually so appealing too. The way that they're
Mm,
dashing around and stuff like that. It adds an element of a horror movie that's not in the zombie genre. Because I think
mm,
normally in a zombie genre we kind of expect things. But if you think of a movie like any kind of Jeepers Creepers, what a deep dive, but like, another kind of horror
Yeah,
movie
deep pool.
where the guy's like in the mirror when you close it. They're adding
Mhm.
some of those elements to this, and I really like it because it makes it to where you don't know what to expect from these kind of zombies.
Yeah, yeah. There was moments where they were like on top of that crate, and
Yeah,
then she look away, and then it would jump down, and then look back, and it was up again. And you're like, whoa,
there's
what
more
did
over
they-"
here. There's like, okay, the numbers get too high, and it's like, okay,
Yeah,
this is a different vibe than what you'd expect out of a regular zombie movie, where it's just a horde running around the corner.
right, right. And these zombies are tough too. I mean, it's not
Oh
like
yeah,
sometimes they get lucky and it's one shot down, but they keep going if you don't hit them in the head. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Also, though, I feel like Jesse, his arrival also introduces Tommy back into the fold because he says,
yes,
"Hey, we left after everybody after you guys left, and then we went together to come save you." So I think that they're going to try to incorporate some of the storytelling from the game with Tommy. But
hmm
it was, I mean, what a cool hero moment for Jesse as well. I love
yeah.
young Manzino, so it's just cool that he has such a big role in this show.
Yeah. And he's not happy with Ellie. Because think about it, like
Right.
he clearly saw his feelings for Dina. And it's like you're getting yourself in trouble. You're also getting her in trouble. You're putting them in danger. And it's like, you think I want to hear from you right now? Like he was just so done with her.
Mm,
And you just can't blame him. Like it's so irresponsible. They had that vote, and the way they shot that vote, you could tell he voted for them to not go. So he's even
right.
more angry that she went. And and yeah, you can't blame Jesse. I think he has all the right to be angry with this entire situation, and he doesn't even know he's a dad yet or an expecting
Right.
father. That's coming up
Yeah.
next.
I know. Oh, ooh, that yeah. I was gonna say, I was like, he's gonna have to find out at some point, and it's just
Yeah,
funny. So yeah, Christina was like, "What? So are they like a thruple now?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know."
kind
It's
of.
like, yeah. I
No
mean, I
spoilers,
think.
but it won't be a problem for long.
Oh
Cut
man,
that,
no,
Frank. Cut that, Frank.
I love Young Benzino. Um, yeah, yeah. There's just like some moments that I will say for me in this episode and definitely last episode that are just a little cheesy,
Yeah,
and it's like I don't know if it's just the delivery or if it's the actors or whatnot. I don't know. There
yeah.
were just some moments where it felt a little cheesy to me.
What about a lack of chemistry? Are you getting that vibe?
Ooh,
Like a
um,
natural chemistry between Ellie and Dina. I, they're, I think, alone some
yeah.
stellar acting, but something about the two is just like I get. It might go back to that rush thing. There's something not there
Not
yet.
clicking yet? Yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about it from like a chemistry standpoint. Maybe you're right. Because you're right. I mean, I love Bella Ramsey. I love. Why am I blanking on her name? Isabella Merced.
Isabella Merced. Yeah.
Yeah, I love both of them. You're right, individually, but yeah, maybe there isn't. And I will say it doesn't feel like it's from Isabella Merced's side. For me, it feels
No,
from
it's
like it's from
Bella
Bella
Ramsey,
Ramsey.
and it might be a thing where just to kind of put this in your head, what if it's because we're so used to Bella Ramsey being this stoic, impenetrable personality to see her see Ellie kind of flirt, it's so off-putting that it might make us step back a second.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just because she seems so childlike still.
Yeah,
She
there it
still seems
is.
like a kid to
Perfect.
me,
Yes.
and for her to be like, I'm a dad, I'm supposed to protect you.
It's
It's
and
like
it's
I don't
that
like
line that
what?
I keep coming back to when you said that. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like you're playing dad. Like you're not ready
Right,
to have a parentage over a kid right now. You're a kid. And I get that, like
right,
number wise, Bella is like 19 or something like that. But right now you're acting like a kid. You guys are goofing around talking in the streets when there are clickers around you and people looking for you.
right,
So
right.
yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm glad we got to flush that out because I was like, what is it? It just feels weird, but
Yeah.
I think we nailed it. Then that brings us into more, or I guess back to the scars and the Seraphites,
Yep.
and we get to see them kind of in full action. I feel
Yeah.
like, you
Disembowel
know,
somebody.
oof, man, that was brutal. Like, I obviously in the last episode too, you see them hanging from the ceilings with all their guts out, and to see it happen and how they do it, oh my gosh, that was disgusting. And the dude is like screaming, like, "Hey, no, like I'll convert, I'll join your side," and they're still just brutal about it. It's, phew, they're wild.
Yeah, they're not great people, and we haven't really flushed out their cult personality yet.
Mm,
And with us only having two more episodes, and the next episode looks like it's full flashbacks, I don't think we're gonna learn much about them. So I think we're going to learn a lot more about them and Abby for that matter in the next season because
Wow.
there's a lot more to come with them.
Hmm.
And I really like how the visual storytelling works with them and the wolves. Like the wolves are definitely more technologically advanced, and they kind of explored that in this episode. Like they didn't even worry about a walkie-talkie,
I
and the other ones
love
are,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be so crazy. Like that seems like such a huge advantage to say like you could say whatever you want on the
yeah,
comms. No one's listening. Like that's so crazy. That would
yeah.
be such an advantage, but it still seems kind of even in some ways.
It does because one of them's the Ewoks, right? One of them does really well with the Force, does really well with guerrilla warfare, and so when you have like the military suits, if you guys were to walk out in formation, we're gonna pick you right off. And
Mhm.
so it's just they're so opposing that difference in technology. It works, but also it works really well for the visual storytelling of it. When if you have arrows whizzing by your head, they're just as deadly, and you know who's shooting them. It's not going to be from a wolf, and so
Right.
it's kind of cool to see that. And then like you ramp that up to explosions and how they deal with different things. It's going to be pretty cool to see how these two play it out.
Nice. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Those whistles are creepy,
Yes,
and yeah, I think it's a nice little touch in this show, and it makes sense. Like it's just a well thought out kind of community organization, whatever you want to call it. It's just like a cool concept. So
yeah,
yeah, that was great. Now we get to the point where they're at the hospital, I believe, and
yeah.
Ellie runs into Nora, and the hospital seems like it's actually going pretty well. Like it seems like it's kind of
It is. Yeah.
organized pretty decently.
I want to go back to the fact that I was saying earlier, where when Ellie doesn't have to worry about Dina, she's very efficient. She might be becoming more dark and everything like that. But think about how comfortably she went into that hospital and was in the room with Nora. Like if she just
Hmm.
popped that trigger off, and she could, I honestly think she could have escaped. Like she was
Yeah, let's talk about that.
right because she was able to escape with Nora running, saying catch her behind me." She could have done that anyways. So it was
I
just
was
like,
like, why is she just not
yeah.
shooting her? I mean, I get it for you need
Because
to
she
have
wants to know
some.
where Abby's at. That's kind of the MacGuffin of it. Like that's the real point of
Sure.
it. But
Yeah.
still, yeah, like pop that bitch off.
I know, like, yeah, yeah. Shoot her in the leg, lock the door somehow,
Yeah.
terrorize her for 30 minutes, try to get the name, and then finish it. But yeah,
Burn the hospital
there's
down. To me, that's like like number one. Like burn that hospital down. Think of how vital that
evil,
hospital
evil
is.
man.
Well, think about how vital the hospital is for the Wolves community. If
No,
you
so
take that
true.
out, then you're letting
So
the
true.
Seraphites win. So it's like this is how you sow chaos, and then Abby's going to come out to fight whatever this is. She's going to have to address a burning building, and
True.
so you're going to bring
Good
everybody
point.
to you. But anyways, that's just
Yeah.
video game Frank thinking.
Yeah, but yeah, you're so right though. It would completely upend the whole Wolves operation and whatnot. But yeah, it was just like little things where I'm like, just shoot her. Like, come
Yeah,
on, like she doesn't want to tell you the answer. There's three other guys or people that were in that situation besides Abby. Like, go find them. It's
yeah,
like, but either way, it plays out the way it does. All to get them what I feel like is down to level B2 so that
yeah,
we can see full cordyceps taking over an entire floor along with people stuck into the pillars, stuck into the walls, and spores shooting out in the air. And I
yeah.
thought that was, I mean, cinematically, it looked crazy.
Oh,
It looked awesome.
so well done. And the idea that these cordyceps, they'll use your body to make sure they can continue to spread. And so the fact that they're
Mhm.
just like keeping them alive so that their lungs could move, like what a torturous and then like that's I can't remember Peters, I think it was. Like that's her son down there. Like that's little we saw it's the same name badge
Oh,
on the
yeah,
two of
yeah.
them. And like he's the one that was on
Oh,
the
I didn't even
bottom.
catch that. Leon?
Yeah.
He was just like, oh, I'm sorry
Yeah,
about your
I think it
son,
was Leon
Leon.
Peters and she's something Peters. You can see it on the name badge.
Oh,
And it's like,
damn.
oh man, brutal. And just
Oof.
poof, you see that smoke, that spores come out of him. Like that is
Yeah.
some really good cinematography. I loved it.
Nice. Wow, that was cool. Great catch, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of also sets the stage now for. Yeah, so let me ask you this then, because the reveal last week of Ellie getting bitten by the zombie protecting Dina,
Yeah.
and then she has to reveal herself. It's like it seems like if they had just put this episode last week with the floor with the spores, they could have explained it more like the video game, where Ellie doesn't need to breathe without the mask. It was
But
like,
then Dina would have gotten hurt by the room. Like they needed to separate those two, I think is the key with this episode.
mm, That's true. I think I was just thinking they could have gotten masked somehow, and then all of a sudden Ellie's gets ripped off
Oh,
or breaks or something, and then they go to
great
a
point.
room, and Dina's like, "Oh my god, I gotta shoot you," and she's like, "No, I'm fine. I'm
Yeah,
immune. I'm immune." You know,
and
like
then show her the bite.
right? Like it was just,
Yeah,
it's cool. Don't get me wrong. I like how they did it, but I'm just wondering, like, why didn't they just move this reason up an episode so it matched
yeah.
better with the game? But it works.
I think there's a lot of restructuring going on, just because they are trying to make narrative sense of a video game. And so, yeah, I like what you're saying. No, I think you're right. That would have been a little bit better. But I think the way that we had this kind of ending for Ellie, where she sees Nora, the lights are red, it's kind of like Sith. And let's bring back to Star Wars again. Um, and Ellie, trying to get information about Abby out of her, decides to bring it right back to what happened to Joel. Let me find something to just swing at your legs, and takes her legs out and just tortures something we've seen. They mentioned in the after show thing. It's something that Joel did in the first season too. Like torture works for these two. Yeah.
Right. Oof. It was brutal. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. And yeah, it's torture too, knowing she's going to turn and have this like awful death anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like salt in the wound, which is yeah, it was crazy. It was a wild how they're doing it. But it was also
Yeah.
cool. Nora is another one of the voice actors that also got to play a role, right?
Oh, what did she play beforehand? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I know she's in a bunch of
That's it.
Naughty Dog games, so
Yeah.
yeah, so it's cool that she got to also have a bigger role like Troy Baker did, like Ashley Johnson did, like Jeffrey Wright. Well, Jeffrey Wright's the only person I know that's also getting to play the same character from the game, which is even cooler to me. That's like,
That's
amazing.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that was yeah, it was cool how if you're part of the Naughty Dog family, you also get brought in as like an actor. Like think about how many voice actors we know that would love that kind of opportunity. So I think that was a really nice little bit of casting they did, and then also it really works for this episode.
I can't find the VO credits, but also on Uncharted. So that's cool too.
Oh, Uncharted, yeah, yeah, yep,
Yeah. That's perfect.
yeah.
A hell of a good job. I mean, you really feel like, why should I tell you anything? Like, why should I give up? There's something to that. I think she did a good job. I think it was well served. Good job.
See, yeah, for everybody listening who thinks voice actors just sit in a booth and just scream into a mic, they are real actors. They have trained as
Thousand
actors
percent.
in so many ways. And yeah,
Yeah.
all they had, the only instrument that they really have to convey their feelings, emotions, everything is their voice. So there is real acting in there all the way through.
100% agree, man. We are such big fans of voice actors around here,
Yeah,
and you could feel it. Yeah. So yeah, great job all around. Troy
absolutely.
Baker. I mean, he made Joel. It's the reason that Joel works now is because Troy Baker made it work in the game. And then I gotta suggest this to you guys. If you guys want to see the filming of the game, where everybody they're all dressed up like in these suits that capture their emotions, but they're literally playing that scene where Joel is killed. It's
Mhm.
exactly the same scene they shot, but it's like, so look at it, guys. The actual emotions in that room are real emotions, and they just digitize them for the game. These are
Yeah.
really good actors. Really amazing.
Absolutely. Yep. Well said, man. And the way this episode like finally ends, it's like a flashback, and this is a iconic scene from the game, right? Can you kind of tell everybody about because we kind of been getting hints to it all season about how Ellie loves space and the astronauts
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and it seems like we're getting something very iconic from the game next episode.
In general, I think we're gonna get a lot of flashing around, but the idea is a lot of those little moments in the games where Ellie and Joel are connecting and becoming father and daughter. We're gonna see brought up next episode, and we might even get because in the end of this episode, when Nora's telling her your dad killed all these people, she says, "I know," and normally that reveal happens later in the game, but they might use the next episode being the penultimate of the season to reveal that discussion where she learned it then.
Mm.
So we might be able to flush that out quite a bit.
Yeah, yep, definitely. I just noticed that scene in again, not playing the game, but that scene where Joel and Ellie are laying in, I guess it's like a model of a spaceship or something. I don't know if it's like a ride or
No,
whatnot.
I think it's the museum,
Yeah, in
if
the
I'm not
museum.
mistaken. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
museum. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
and
they're
she's
kind
got
of
the space
laying.
helmet
Yep.
on, and like it's such a cute scene in the game. And yeah, they're bringing that back. That's gonna be really fun.
Totally, like I've seen it, but yeah, to see it now with Pedro in there, you're like, oh wow,
Yeah.
they're doing like a beat for beat recreation. So that was, yeah, I'm excited for that episode. It's nice to see Joel. It's funny. I said after the next episode after Joel got killed, I was like, it's like, it's not like you miss Pedro yet, which was one episode, very, very premature on my part. I definitely feel the loss of Joel now, I will say, in the show. So I'm looking
Yes.
forward to having Pedro back for this next episode.
Yeah, and he'll be back a couple times, I'm sure, in the next season too. They'll make sure to add that into the credits somewhere, or in that like trailer for season 3. They know to do that. That's so smart.
Nice. Yep.
The man's busy, guys. Have you seen the Fantastic Four trailers? I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, and he's got like a bunch of A24 movies he's doing.
Ugh.
The Mandalorian movie comes out next year. I mean, yeah, the guy, I think he's the new, like, he's the top A-list star, I think, now. Besides, like, Timothy Chalamet. It's still crazy The Rock is probably up there, but I mean, I like The Rock, so. But yeah, I would think he's the actor right now.
And that, like, not to be, maybe we'll have to edit this out if I'm getting too political or something like that. That bitch J.K. Rowling. He said something I thought was very accurate, and J.K. Rowling shot back like, "Who is even Pedro Pascal?" I'm like, ain't nobody care about you. Everybody cares about Pedro Pascal. Don't make me come to your street. Like, cut that out. Don't you talk shit about him. He's my boy.
Yeah. Talk about like divorcing the art from the artist. Like,
and I just can't do it. We've actually, we're not going to be talking about the Harry Potter series anymore because simply we cannot. She won't let us, so we're not going to. And so over at Geek Freaks, we're not talking about the Harry Potter series anymore because of her. And it's just like, hey, we don't talk about politics, but we also don't support hatred in this world. So yeah.
Facts. I like it, man.
That's a damn shame because some good casting in that damn show.
I know. Are you kidding me? Yeah, all of these people have to ruin stuff we love, even though they made it. I'm looking at you, Sandman season 2 on Netflix.
Oh, I know. Oh my god! And it's so funny. Like, I'm going through some of the posts that I put up in the past on Geek Freaks, and like the last one I did where I quote like a person we really admire is Neil Gaiman talking about something. It's like, woof, didn't age well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not your fault, and we're just human people. We're just trying to share the stuff we love, and it turns out some of the people who've made some of the stuff we love, we're kind of monsters, and we only know in retrospect. So it is what it is. But
it is what it is.
All in all, I think pretty decent episode.
Yeah.
Not towards the top for me this season, I will say, but it is getting us from point A to point B. So I'm excited for next week.
Very much a journey episode. While we're with you guys, I want to make sure you guys know about what's going on in the network. Disney Mom's Gone Wrong. We're on a 2-year hiatus. It's easily one of the most popular shows on the network. They are back, and they put out 2 episodes today. They're going to have episodes coming out every bi-weekly now. Yeah. Very popular episode, very popular podcast amongst the network.
If you are a parent or if you like Disney, I think this is a podcast for
chaos.
Or just moms chit chatting and saying some pretty hilarious shit. This is a podcast for you. I'm so excited that this show's back.
So they have 2 episodes now. One of them is just dedicated to like what we've been doing for 2 years. It's like 40 minutes. The next one is The Princess Diaries, and then their next episode coming out is Inside Out 2. And if you want to, over on Patreon, that episode's already up on Patreon and it's free. You guys can listen to the 3rd episode of Disney Mom's already out now. So they're back. New logo, new art, new music, everything. Slightly better microphones. That's still a thing. But if you're a fan of their show, you already know. So yeah, they're back.
Right on. That's awesome. Heck yeah. Well, that is amazing. I will say, too, I watched Pride and Prejudice. We don't know when that is being recorded. I will say I only fell asleep twice in it. So that
that's such a bad sign.
hey, it is a treasure to so many people out there. As my wife clearly let me know that I was blowing it by falling asleep, which I was not trying to do, but I am excited to talk about this one with you because this felt like a real challenge. You know? We don't always get challenged as much anymore. We had some dumpster fire episodes in the past, and just there's been so many amazing things. Luckily for us, this is too in so many ways, but maybe not for me. So we will discuss.
We have the Andor season finale next week, in a couple of days. After that, we'll do Pride and Prejudice, and then I'll fire us right up after that. I'll find something from the MCU or the DC catalog or something crazy fun like that, and we'll fire
Cats
it back
too.
Oh, God, yeah. Cats, now with more music.
Yeah, Little Women.
Oh,
Something.
jeez, dude. No, I'm actually kind of thinking the Kingsman. Have you seen Kingsman?
Ooh, oh my God, yeah, I love the Kingsman.
So we might jump to Kingsman 2 so we get Pedro Pascal.
Ooh, all right.
There
Pedro
we go.
Summer. Let's go.
Hell yeah, that's a great idea. All right, everybody. Well, we love you hanging out. We love that you guys are hanging out with us, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
All right. Aloha.